Commercial Driver's License Manual, page 24. Wheel and rim problems. Damaged rims. Rust around wheel nuts may mean the nuts are loose. Check for tightness. After a tire has been changed, stop a short while later and recheck tightness of nuts. Missing clamps, spacers, studs, or lugs means danger. Mismatched, bent, or cracked lock rings are dangerous. Wheels or rims that have welding repairs are not safe. Bad brake drums or shoes. Cracked drums. Shoes or pads with oil, grease, or brake fluid on them. Shoes worn dangerously thin, missing, or broken. Steering system defects. Missing nuts, bolts, cotter keys, or other parts. Bent, loose, or broken parts such as steering column, steering gearbox, or tie rods. If power steering equipped, check hoses, pumps, and fluid levels. Check for leaks. Steering wheel play of more than 10 degrees, approximately 2 inches movement at the rim of a 20-inch steering wheel can make it hard to steer. Figure 2.1 shows steering system. It shows the steering wheel. Underneath the steering wheel is the steering shaft. Shows the tie rods, which are closer to the wheels. There's the tie rods right there. Hold on. Tie rods are very close to the wheel. Here's the hydraulic fluid reservoir. It's kind of like looks like a can shaped. It's kind of about 2 feet away from the steering shaft. On the bottom of the steering shaft is the gearbox. The gearbox is connected to the hydraulic fluid reservoir. On the other side of the gearbox is the pitman arm, right there. The pitman arm is next to the drag link. It looks thinner. Next to the drag link is the steering knuckle, which is right here. Next to the steering knuckle is the spindle, right there. Next to the spindle is the steering arm. And then it says right here's the power steering cylinder. And it's pointing to the thing that's connected to the pitman arm. Like right next to the pitman arm is the power steering cylinder. Suspension system defects. The suspension system holds up the vehicle and its load. It keeps the axles in place. Therefore, broken suspension parts can be extremely dangerous. Look for spring hangers that allow movement of axle from proper position. See figure 2.2. Here is figure 2.2. Starting at the top, it says key suspension parts. It says hydraulic shock absorber. It's pointing to this. Over here it says the vehicle frame, to this more thicker bar it looks like. Here is the front axle hanger. It's also pointing to right here, and it's pointing to right here, the bottom part of the leaf spring. Remember, hydraulic shock absorber, the leaf spring, the vehicle frame, the front axle hanger. Here's the bearing plates. These two. This is the axillary spring. It's pointing to this, technically. This is the frame, this bigger part of it. This is the torque rod. The bottom is the axle. Here's the bigger one. The smaller one is the auxiliary spring. The big one is the main spring. At the end of the main spring is the spring shackle, which is on the bottom of the front axle hanger. Cracked or broken spring hangers. These are the spring hangers, these little parts of the mainspring connected to the mainspring. Missing or broken leaves in any leaf spring. If 1/4 or more are missing, it will put the vehicle out of service. But any defect could be dangerous. See figure 2.3. Figure 2.3. Safety defect. A broken leaf spring. So here's the main spring. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 leaves. And it shows here the 6th or top leaf is broken. Bam, it broke. There's the axle, the bottom. That will put your vehicle out of service. Remember that. End of page. Page 25. Broken leaves in a multi-leaf spring or leaves that have shifted so they might hit a tire or other part. Leaking shock absorbers, torque rod or arm, U-bolts, spring hangers or other axle positioning parts that are cracked, damaged, or missing, air suspension systems that are damaged and/or leaking. See figure 2.4. Figure 2.4, air suspension parts. We'll start here. This is the spacer. Underneath the spacer is the bellows. Up here is the shock absorber. Underneath the bellows is the lower bellows support. Next to the lower bellows support is the axle seat. Next to the axle seat and on top of it is the axle. And the top of the axle is the U-bolts. Over here is the upper bellows support. Next to the upper bellows support is the height control valve. Over here is the frame reinforcement. Underneath the frame reinforcement is the bracket. Underneath the bracket is the eye bolt. Down from the eye bolt is the control arm. Next to the control arm is the anchor plate. On top of the control arm, on top of the anchor plate, is the clamp bolt. And it's saying on the bottom, this is the front. Like, I guess maybe the front view. Any loose, cracked, broken, or missing frame members. Exhaust system defects. A broken exhaust system can let poison fumes into the cab or sleeper berth. Look for loose, broken, or missing exhaust pipes, mufflers, tailpipes, or vertical stacks. Loose, broken, or missing mounting brackets, clamps, bolts, or nuts. Exhaust system parts rubbing against fuel system parts, tires, or other moving parts of the vehicle. Exhaust system parts that are leaking. Emergency equipment. Vehicles must be equipped with emergency equipment. Look for fire extinguishers, spare electrical fuses, unless equipped with circuit breakers, warning devices for parked vehicles, 3 reflective triangles, or at least 6 fuses, or 3 liquid burning flares. Cargo trucks. You must make sure the truck is not overloaded and the cargo is balanced and secured before each trip. If the cargo contains hazardous materials, you must inspect for proper papers and placarding. (2.1.4) CDL Vehicle Inspection Test. In order to obtain a CDL, you will be required to pass a vehicle inspection test. You will be tested to see if you know whether your vehicle is safe to drive. You will be asked to do a vehicle inspection of your vehicle. You must point to / touch and name the item you are inspecting and explain to the examiner what you would inspect and why. The following 7-step inspection method should be useful. 2.1.5 7-step inspection method. Method of inspection. You should do a vehicle inspection the same way each time, so you will learn all the steps and be less likely to forget something. Approaching the vehicle. Notice the general condition. Look for damage or vehicle leaning to one side. Look under the vehicle for fresh oil, fresh coolant, grease, or other fuel leaks. Check the area around the vehicle for hazards to vehicle movement, people, other vehicles, objects, low hanging wires, limbs, etc. Vehicle inspection guide. Step number 1. Vehicle overview. Review last vehicle inspection report. Drivers may have to make a vehicle inspection report in writing each day. The motor carrier must repair any items in the report that affect safety and certify on the report that repairs were made or were unnecessary. You must sign the report only if defects were noted and certified to be repaired or not needed to be repaired. Step number 2. Check engine compartment. Check that the parking brakes are on and/or the wheels are chocked. You may have to raise the hood, tilt the cab, secure loose things so they don't fall and break something, or open the engine compartment door. Check the following. Check the engine oil level. Check the coolant level in radiator. Check the condition of hoses. Check the power steering fluid level. Check the hose condition, if so equipped. Check the windshield washer fluid level. Check the battery fluid level, the connections and tie downs. The battery may be located elsewhere. And check transmission fluid level. It may require the engine to be running. End of page.